Hi, I'm Ian.
And I'm Jason.
And this is Ghosts and Bears, the only podcast where we bring you the actual ghosts
with the actual stories
from actual bears. On this episode of Ghosts and Bears, we're kicking off our summer series, and that starts with schools, because school is out, my friends. Some schools seem to hang on to some of their students and teachers a little longer than others, and we're going to be hearing stories about that from all over the world on this episode of Ghosts and Bears. All right, well, welcome.
Welcome.
How is everybody doing?
Oh, good. You know, things are going well.
We've been doing a lot of different things around here.
Yeah, I would say so. Things are going okay.
The deck is gone.
Yeah, it's demoed. Gone.
The backdoor area is gone.
Yep.
And a new one is half built.
Yep.
The cedars, gone.
Yeah, the cedars are gone.
Ground to nothing.
Mm-hmm. Even their stumps.
And the truck is parked on it in a rakish angle.
Yeah, it's good. It looks like it's off-roading.
Yeah. The downstairs flood-ravaged kitchen should be done probably within the next week or so.
Yeah, hopefully by the end of June, hopefully.
So yeah.
I would love to see that steel can that's been there for 6 months go away.
That would be very nice.
Then
to get our driveway back and get our basement back.
Get the sports car out so we can go top-down driving. That's
topless driving?
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's been too long. I've been very patient.
You have been. Around here, not a lot. Very exciting. It's been pretty cold here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been rainy, cool. Yeah,
but we needed it.
We haven't had to use our air conditioner.
But on the flip side, we also haven't had to put up with the smoke we were putting up with this time last year.
Oh yeah. Last May,
fires?
You couldn't even see the ridge. It was just so smoky.
Yeah, so I'm not going to complain too much.
And our river's back to normal, so there's a lot.
Yep.
So
the river
apologize to our Calgary listeners. Apparently,
my God,
they have like no water for weeks.
A major city of over 1 million people, and they're like, so we got no water for 5 to 7 weeks.
Oh my gosh!
You know, that kind of thing you expect in Edmonton, but not in Calgary.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's weird because the Calgary was one of the other places we were considering moving to.
We thought about moving there.
Yeah, so we're happy. We have water.
We have water and 2 rivers. Yeah,
we have 2 rivers.
One thing that happened that was very exciting for us. First off, my Ghost Walk launches in 2 weeks.
Yeah, the Ghost Walk. That's
so
cool.
I'm a little terrified, but happy, and I've got lots of.
Oh yeah.
But I got lots of local information and lots of kind people have helped me out, so that's good. Mm-hmm. And then we had another local thing happen. So we have an ice cream store here in town called the Frozen Paddle.
Frozen Paddle.
Artisan ice cream, homemade, very cool, very much like Parachute in Victoria.
So artisan or artesian?
Oh God, I don't know. Anyway, really good ice cream.
Ask the chat GPT.
Really, really good ice cream. So we went there. And I was wearing the Ghosts and Bears t-shirt, as I do sometimes represent. And I went ahead into the bathroom. And when I came out, you were like waving goodbye to someone.
Yeah.
And this a man and woman got in their truck. And I'm like, what was that? Because I heard you say bye. And Jay goes, that was Kendall and her partner who recognized the shirt.
Hi, big shout out to you.
Yeah, so big shout out to them because they're like local people who listen to the podcast, which I think there may be almost 5 of them.
At least 2. Maybe
now
maximum 2.
Now we know Kendall and her partner actually watch. So hello to Kendall and her mystery man and
a shout out to the Frozen Paddle because it's such good ice cream.
It's so good.
They don't sponsor us, but it's so good.
Obviously, people of taste and class get ice cream there because that's where they saw us.
Yes, so
obviously,
hello to both.
Hello to both.
Hopefully, you stay safe. It was fun to meet you,
and I hope you keep listening, even though we're just idiots.
You might want to speak for yourself. I'm becoming an MBA.
You're getting smarter by the moment. Exactly. We do have a kind of a fun thing that we're doing. We've never done this before. We're launching a series of summer episodes.
Yeah.
So what I came up with was when I was putting episodes together, I'm like, ooh, I know. So This episode is about haunted schools.
Yes.
Because school, in Canada at least now, is out as of this week.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're in high school, because now it's exam time.
Oh, yeah.
God, you're really trying to make that happen, aren't you?
I don't know.
And so the next bunch of episodes all summer long are going to be places you go to in the summer. So we've got like haunted hotels and haunted campgrounds and haunted summer camps.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
That's true.
Yeah. So I think it'll be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've noticed the fun artwork, I've been messing around with Canva. You got me into Canva.
Oh, apparently so.
And I'm really enjoying that too. So we've got fun artwork for the episodes now, not just boring artwork. So
Yeah, we're not so boring.
not so boring.
We're hopefully not boring.
Hopefully not. So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be these fun kind of summertime episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And we will for sure. I'm just looking forward to bringing you more. I think it'll be a lot of fun. We are going to be going away this weekend. Jason has a meeting he has to go to, and I'm going to go with him. And then we are going to record some episodes of Ghost Stories.
Ghost stories we've heard.
We have heard. So
we have heard.
Because you and I haven't done those together for quite a while.
No, I know it's been busy with the NBA.
Absolutely.
I'll just blame the NBA for
Absolutely.
everything. You have to pivot. It's all about the UMBC NBA is all about pivoting. Pivot.
It'll be like 4 years from now. The NBA will be a distant memory, and you'll be like, "Oh, I can't do it. I've got NBA things," and I'll be like, "Oh, that's weird."
Well, no, because I'm thinking about doing either my JD or my PhD,
Give me strength.
or Masters in Indigenous Relations, or MPB.
What's an MPB?
Oh, MPA, Masters of Public Administration. I don't know.
Oh, MPB. I thought it was like Masters of Peanut Butter or something.
I don't know. You can. There's a Masters of everything.
There is a Masters of everything.
Just
you are
be
not
a
wrong.
master of something.
You're not wrong. All right.
Masters of ChatGPT. That's the GPT.
ChatGPT has gotten people into
Copilot.
serious trouble.
Copilot. There's Gemini,
There's
formerly Bard.
All of them now. I know.
Even Apple.
They've
has
gotten
some sort of
but seriously,
Apple-ish thing.
Seriously, they've gotten some people into
Apple-ish.
serious things. Serious
Is
problems.
Apple-ish a thing? I don't know.
Sure, probably. I don't see why not.
I know one of our listeners, Chris, likes Apple. He got me into Apple. There's always Apple.
There's always Apple. Yeah.
There's Apple-ish stuff.
Do you have a hard time working technology? Apple, it's for you.
I like it because the battery lasts. But then now they have all sorts of things. But that's just digressing into something completely different.
Let's focus on our stories.
Yes.
So
but we
they're
have to
gonna
use
be-
technology to read our stories.
We are
nowadays.
using technology on the giant screen in front of us. And we're going to get into those stories when we come back. So brace yourself for all kinds of very creepy school stories.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
There you go. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Sounds like very 80s cartoon mornings on Saturday.
All right. Bye. We'll be back.
And we're back. I get to finally say that the first time ever. Usually it's Ian. Anyway, so I feel honored to be able to say, and we're back. So our first story comes from Hamilton, Ontario, which is the center of the universe if you're in Canada.
At least they think so.
Yes, it's Ontario and then it's the rest of Canada.
Exactly.
So last year, 2010 in quotation marks. So this must have been 2011.
Thank you, Jason, for that. Your MBA is really paying off.
So last year, I was walking to my friend's house at a very late hour, around 2:30 a.m. Now my friend lives a block away from the abandoned school. As I'm walking to his house, I pass the school, finding my friend sitting on the steps, listening carefully. I ask him, "What's going on here, man?" He replies, "Dude, let's listen to the noises coming from the school." And all he was hearing was extremely disturbing for a place where there are no people at all. We heard things being moved, dragged around all over the school, including knocks and scratching. We also saw some chairs and desks moving as we looked in some of the windows.
I wouldn't be doing that. I'd be out of there.
The two of us felt so uneasy being around the area, and nothing would prepare me for what I saw next. My friend was looking in another window, and I went to glance at another, where I found myself shivering in fear at the sight of a little girl in the window. I stared at her for a solid 3 seconds before she vanished into thin air. She had pure black eyes, a pale complexion, emotionless expression, and no nose visible on her face.
Not good.
After seeing this, I started walking away towards my friend's house. Tears running down my face, he followed me asking what was wrong, and I told him. I could not even look at the school for a while after that experience, and still to this day I always avoid walking that way. I have never been so terrified in my life, and it's changed me so much.
Well, it would change you. I mean, if you didn't believe in stuff before, you certainly would afterwards.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And I don't think
So a little girl throwing stuff around the school.
Well,
She
maybe it
must have
wasn't
really
her.
hated
Maybe
it.
she was just the one who showed up. Maybe there were other things throwing the stuff around.
Oh, maybe she was listening to Pink Floyd and summer's,
Jason.
School's out or something.
No. All right. Next story. This story comes from back before I was born when my dad was 17. My dad grew up in a very, very small town called Alma, located in the province of New Brunswick in Canada's east coast. I'm not exactly sure on when the town was first founded, but it had to be around...
Around 1850s?
Well over 120 years. Yeah, probably. My dad was in high school. The school he went to was kindergarten to grade 12, mainly because there weren't a lot of kids in town, so they only needed the one school. His school was still rather big, though. It had 3 floors and a kind of lookout thing on top of the roof. Coming out of the side of the building were large black slides, which were used as fire escapes. Oh, yeah, I can't see that going wrong. When I went back last summer, I was 21 at the time, to go visit my grandmother in my dad's old hometown, we went to see his old school. As we were driving to it, he was telling me that a long time ago, before he started school there was a fire. But one of the slides managed to disconnect itself from the side of the building, and when the teacher made the first student go, he fell 3 stories and hit the ground. He died instantly, obviously, he said. Oh, that would be bad. There were many different accidents at that school, which made me a little more excited to visit the school. My kind of person.
Yes.
I knew I would experience something at the school if I was lucky. Maybe I would even see a ghost. We got to the school and went to the front office and told the principal who we were. My dad knew the principal because they went to that school together when they were kids. And I told the principal why I was so interested in visiting the school. And he smiled at me and said he would take us for a tour after hours when the students all went home for the night. But before we left, we walked around and saw the pictures and artwork and everything else that's hung on the walls. We saw my dad's grad picture. Wow, I've never seen him without hair before. After dinner, we got a call from Richard, the principal, and he said to come by and he'll take us on a tour of the school. When we first arrived, we waited a few minutes before Rich got there. I was looking over to one of the windows on the ground floor and thought I saw somebody standing in the window. I looked back and they were gone, which is how it usually goes, I guess. Rich came and we went inside. I asked if we could go into the room where I thought I saw a person in the window. It was the library. He told us that this is where a lot of the daytime activity takes place. He said the librarians would do their rounds, putting books back on their shelves, and when they leave the aisle, they would hear a noise. When they go back to the aisle they were just in, there would be books laying all over the floor. Okay, not cool. Messy ghosts. This made me smile because it was nice to hear they come out during the day. This way I knew they weren't shy. Oh, that's a good point. Our next stop was the second floor. On the way up the stairs, I began to feel very lightheaded and nauseous. My dad said he felt a slight headache, but nothing serious. We stopped a few minutes so I could catch my breath, and we continued on. We walked down a long, dark hallway where the classrooms were all located. There were about 8 rooms on this floor. As we walked down the hallway, I took a peek into each classroom. It was the second last door on the right that made me feel very uncomfortable. I went inside, Richard and my dad followed, and I stood in the middle of the room. I'm feeling a really strange vibe in here, I told Rich. Almost kind of an angry sort of vibe. Richard told me that about 5 years ago, a student broke into the school and hung himself in that classroom. Oh, as a surprise for everyone who came to school that day. Not cool. I didn't ask anything else about it. I'm not really interested in kids committing suicide. In my spare time, I volunteer to make sure kids make the right choices. So this made me really sad. We continued on up to the 3rd floor, and I was first up the stairs, and when I got to the top of the stairs, I stopped. I looked down the hallway to the opposite end of the building, and I saw a little boy, just standing there, arms at his side. I wasn't close enough to see what he was wearing or what his face looked like, nor was there enough light. I slowly stepped a little closer towards him. My dad and Rich stayed back at the door. They knew what was going on, and they didn't want to startle the spirit. I managed to get past the first 2 rooms, and then the third. I got about 10, maybe 15 yards away from the spirit, and then he turned around and walked right through the wall. I noticed there was a little door, one that you would have to duck down and pretty much crawl through. I knew this was the door to the fire exit. I looked at it, and that's when I realized that little boy was the one that fell during the fire in the early 1940s. Wow. My dad and Richard came up behind me and asked me what happened, and I told them. Richard explained that the night cleaners would often see him standing there. He said that he was harmless and he hasn't done anything to harm anybody, nor has he wandered to any other parts of the school. After a little while we finished our tour and went back outside to the truck, we said our goodbyes to Richard and headed back to my grandmother's house. I couldn't get the thought out of my head. Those poor kids. Like I said, I do a lot of volunteer work with kids, so hearing about this story made me sad. Wow. I mean, that makes sense. So that boy would be going back there almost trying to redo it or figure out what went wrong.
Exactly.
Because I doubt he even had time to process.
I'm not sure.
If the slide pulled away and you fell through stories, I don't think he'd even time to process it.
That is interesting.
Yeah, that's sad.
Wow, sad.
Next story.
This next one comes from Australia.
Ooh, far away.
When I was 10, I went to a small country town Catholic primary school that was taught by nuns.
Uh-oh.
It was an old school, maybe dating back in the very late 1890s, as it had an old church on the hill, now torn down. Old classrooms, which we'll get in a few secs, that were made from solid Australian hardwood like red gum and rosewood as well as teak. The floors were also made of teak.
Cool. That'd be cool to see.
I love teak.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful wood. It was on Friday afternoon. I was going to spend a weekend with my best mate, Luke. This was just before he and his family moved out to the old big farmhouse, as they had a house in town. Luke and I planned to break into the school, which was simply just walking through the gate and led into the school. One of the mates left one of the rooms to the door's classroom unlocked.
Okay, so this is a bad plan already.
So Saturday morning, Luke and I rode up to the school, dumped the bikes in a clump of lantana, and then we went in. The door was unlocked and we crept in. We ran amok, hid the cane behind the curtains. Then this is the things started getting weird. Luke mucked about on the typewriter while I decided to go into the classroom and felt as if I just walked in the classroom filled with unseen kids. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh.
Those small children, they're trying to choke you. The children are trying to choke you.
Please. That's awful.
All right.
My apologies. I'm so sorry. Luke mucked about on the typewriter while I decided to go into the classroom and felt as if I just walked into a classroom filled with unseen kids who wanted me to leave. Many years later, I had the same feeling as I walked into a deserted office. I walked out backwards and Luke and I sort of hurried out.
Interesting walking out backwards. I totally understand that. You don't want to turn your back on whatever it is.
We walked about, then grew bored. Then as we were about to leave, we just both happened to turn and there we saw the old nun. Oh. She had a strange habit on, not like the nuns wore, but before from another time. Her habit was like the flying nun, freaked us right out. I could see her still wearing her glasses, an angry expression etched in her wrinkled old skin. Her eyes were burning with intensity. That was it. That did it for Luke and I as we both bolted for the bikes, literally screaming. We told the lads that day. The story went around the school about us seeing a ghost. It was a few weeks later. I happened to find these old photos that were on display. I damn near shat myself when I saw her. I bolted. Luke found Luke and the lads and showed them the photo. It was her all right, the cranky old nun as we called her. Postscript. Just a few years ago, I found a website on YouTube that was celebrating my old school's 100th birthday. I knew a few faces and smiled, then smile froze when I saw the cranky old nun on a picnic. She looked even crankier in the photo that she did when I saw her.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Well, she would have been very unhappy those boys had broken into the school.
Yes.
Like, not cool at all.
So if you read that story, it's like, condensed it a teeny bit because
Yeah.
it's got a lot of
brackets.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't flow so smoothly, which is
know.
probably why I choked.
Yeah.
And started
I
coughing.
get it.
So I apologize to everyone.
Some of our stories do come from people with English as a second language, so sometimes
This is true.
they might sound a little different, but you still get the gist of the story.
Cranky old nun. I would love to see that school.
Well, maybe we can look it up and see if we can find
I
it.
wonder if it's like the haunted, like the nun from that movie that's
Oh, The Nun.
The Nun.
Yeah, that's
And The Nun
those are,
2.
Those are good movies.
And maybe The Nun 3.
They're fun.
There are all sorts of nuns.
There's all kind of angry nuns out there. Well, this one was. Did you know what he's talking about when he talked about the flying nun? Did you ever see that TV show with Sally Field?
No.
She's wearing like the wimple isn't the straight down one. It comes down and it wings.
Yeah,
out.
it wings out.
Yeah,
Yes.
and she could actually fly in that TV show.
Okay.
So that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of the older
Oh,
style.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool. This story comes from the Philippines.
Philippines. So warm.
Very warm. I go to school in Cavite. I probably said that wrong. I apologize. I would choose to keep my school identity private, but here's the story. I started schooling there when I was in the 5th grade. Of course, as a transferee, I sat there quiet, just watching everyone. I heard that our school has a spooky history. Some say it was a former salvage disposal. Some say that our computer lab was once a bank and a holdup took place and a security guard died. I wasn't sure of those tales, but I chose to find out for myself.
Some say it's the Stig.
Top
Gear.
Stop it.
Some say.
Stop it.
That's what I heard.
Stop it. You're wrecking the story. Spooky. In the nearly 4th grading, I gained lots of friends. I will call my best friend Sai, not her real name. Sai and I auditioned for the upcoming singing contest. We go home late most of the time for our meetings and practices. The gala night came. The contest was going to start at around 7 p.m., where mostly my classmates say the ghost show is up around that time. Sai and I dressed up in our classroom. Then we decided to roam around the campus while waiting for the contest to start. We went back up to the 2nd floor where our classroom was. We were roaming around the floor and it was dark because all the lights are off and all the classrooms are locked. Sai said that our own classroom has a ghost too. You'll sometimes hear a girl crying in the corner of the room. I was staring at the classroom window from outside, and when we passed the classroom, we truly saw right in the corner of our eyes a chair moved. The sound was so heavy, and we started to feel chills all over the area. We ran away as fast as we could, only to know that the contest was getting started, and I will never forget that.
Whoa.
Dun, dun, dun. So, what's with all the furniture moving around?
I have no idea.
Is it just a school thing?
Honestly, if it's ye old furniture, that was so uncomfortable to sit on. You remember those chairs that were built to the desk?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, those things were terrible.
Oh, yes. I absolutely remember those. I sat in those.
Seriously, like sitting for 2 hours was just punishment enough in those things.
No, I completely agree.
God
with
for
you.
recess
I completely
or bathroom
agree.
breaks, but
Yep.
yeah, they were hard.
Yeah. No.
So that's probably why they move around, is because the ghosts just hate them, taking out their disdain on the bad furniture.
All right.
Not long ago, I submitted an account of some odd paintings at the school I teach at.
Odd happenings.
Odd happenings. Odd. What? What was I thinking?
I don't know, but that was a really interesting jump. Anyway.
Yeah. It could be, yeah. Okay. I mentioned that I saw shadow people in the hallways, and the school is in a really bad area, which has a lot of shootings and murders.
Fun.
This is an update of some of the other things that have happened since. I continue to see shadow people around the school, but have tried to ignore them until the other day. I have 2 big bookshelves next to each other towards the back of my classroom. There was a small space between them, and on the first week of school, my students would try to get in between them, and I told them that was not allowed. They are in kinder, so that's first.
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten. None of them would have attempted it since. I had the students on the teaching carpet, a math lesson, when I looked up and saw a boy I never saw before sitting in the space between bookcases. I don't remember much about his details, except he had these huge eyes that were just staring at me. I stared back for a second, and then I looked at my students just to make sure that none of them had wandered off. When I backed at the bookcase, the boy was gone.
Oh, boy.
My students saw me staring at something, so they turned around and asked why I was staring. Not wanting to scare them, I just said, "Oh, I thought something fell off the wall." It was really creepy.
That is really creepy.
A few days later, I once again had the kiddos at the carpet teaching reading. I had a boy in time in a chair near the bookshelf. I had a boy in time out. Oh,
Time out.
time out, of course.
Time out. I know.
Goodness.
If you read it without making time out into like a thing, that sentence makes no sense. But yeah. I get
Yeah,
it.
of course. So the kid was in timeout.
Yeah.
That's all you can say.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I saw a shadow dash across the room, go right through the boy in timeout.
Oh, boy.
And then through the wall behind the bookcase and into the class next door. So, ironically enough, that panned out better because now we know something went through this boy in timeout.
Yes, that poor guy.
I will say right out, it was not a car driving by. Would hope not. What?
Because of street lights.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what? Okay. Well, that's a defense.
Yeah.
Okay. My classroom is very far from the street, and there's a portable classroom covering my classroom from the street. Okay, is this a teacher? This is really not well written. I'm sorry. It's hard to read. It was also not a person because shades were open, and since my carpet area with the kids is near the window, I would have seen and heard footsteps and someone walking by.
Right.
Fair point. This thing I saw floated in. I would say maybe it was my imagination, except that one of my students saw it too.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Uh-oh.
She stayed screaming and saying it's a ghost. She started screaming and saying it's a ghost. It's a ghost. And it went right through Ben, not his real name.
Oh, no.
Well, Ben got up in a panic and the rest of my students got really freaked out.
Of course they did.
The girl just kept saying that the ghost was a man and he was going to return.
Even worse.
I did not make out if the shadow I saw was a man or not. All I saw was the shadow, and it was obvious she saw more. Then she screamed out, "There he is." All I saw was a bit of the gray movement by the bookcase.
Wow.
Then at recess, she kept saying that there were ghosts on the playground. But I think she got him imagining it at that point, and in any regards, this poor little girl was very scared. I even had the parents calling me asking why their kids were so shaken up.
Oh, no.
Later, after school, I was in the classroom alone when the security alarm in the classroom next door started going off. The teacher had already left and locked the room. The security company came and said that the system sensed movement in there, and that's why it went off, and asked if I had gone into that room for any reason. I said no, that I had been in my room the entire time. Then suddenly my alarm started going off for no reason while the security people were there. They could not turn it off and were baffled by what was going on, and it had worked great up until that moment. I have no idea what is going on in this school, but it is creepy. The fact that the students saw the ghost tells me that there is something there. I just wish that if I knew it was good or not. I don't interact with it and just ignore it when I see it.
Wow. That's tough when you've got one kid who can see it.
I'm going to fail this teacher for poor writing.
Hey, this teacher could be ESL.
No, it's true,
Right?
but there's definitely run-on sentences.
Well,
I know. On and on and on.
I know.
But
No, that would be really hard as a teacher if you've got a kid seeing the ghosts, in fact, in more detail than you are. How do you handle that and keep your kids calm? Because they're all freaking out.
Oh, you can't. So just play into it and let them all just start screaming.
Oh, yeah, that's going to help.
That would
No
be fun.
calls from home for that teacher.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Just let them all just go
Just
hooligan.
let them absolutely go batshit crazy.
You know what? That's what I would do if I was a teacher. Let them go nuts.
I know you would.
They would scare the ghost away. Probably.
I know you would. All right, our next story.
I'd be like, "Oh my God, did you see that? It went through Ben."
And I think it tried to kill him.
And then they would just lose all out. And then, you know what? Maybe the ghost would be like, "Oh my God, this is a crazy class. And
I'm
there's
outta
all
here.
these kids. I'm gone."
I'm out of here.
Use it to your advantage.
Oh my God.
Why not?
I really don't think that's the way it's going to work.
Ooh, the next story is from the Philippines.
Yes. Hi, I'm a 17-year-old senior high school student who lives in the Philippines. When our teacher dismissed our class at 5 p.m., I went with a few of my classmates to the school gymnasium to practice for our class presentation. It was quite dark in there, so we asked the security to turn on the lights. We were about to start our practice when I felt the need to go to the bathroom. Uh-oh. So I asked one of my classmates, Brent, to accompany me. Yay. No, just kidding.
Probably not.
We both went through a short hallway and then I went inside the bathroom and it was so dark in there, so I turned on the light.
Oh.
While I was in the bathroom, I heard someone knocking on the door, so I said, "Someone's in here." When I went out to ask Brent who knocked, he said that no one was knocking and that he was just standing outside.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we were both confused. Knocking's not good. That means someone wants to come in.
Yep.
There was another knock, so we both turned towards the source of the sound. It was coming from another door. We walked over to the door and opened it. We saw the silhouette of a ghost under the light of the moon, and we thought it was just a sheet of fabric being draped over a wooden mannequin. We didn't think much of it, rubbed our eyes to see if we were just hallucinating. We were not. A clear silhouette of a ghost was actually standing by the brightly lit window. The light was coming from the moonlight. We both left the area and went back to our practices. The next day, there was a group of people talking about something, so we asked one of them to see what they were up to. He said the ghost he saw last night was of a teacher who died in the school.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So why the knocking? It just wanted someone to acknowledge it was there? I mean, it was obviously kind of calling them.
I don't know.
I mean, that would... I can't... I mean, if they're knocking, they're trying to make contact with them.
I think so.
Completely
Yeah, that's the
freaking
only
you
thing.
out.
That's the only thing I can think of.
I don't know.
Or hurry up. I need to go.
Hurry up. I need to go.
I don't have a clue.
I don't think so.
You never know. It's odd.
Here's one for you. This one has a whole bunch of little kids in it. Your favorite.
Oh, no. Okay. 7 a.m. Oh, my gosh. The way I read that for a split second, I was thinking of Rebecca Black's thing.
Oh,
Friday. That's how
yeah.
it starts out. 7 a.m.
Okay.
Something. Okay.
No,
Working at a new school this year. It's a building that was once an elementary school, then a high school, and now is an all kindergarten school.
That sounds like hell.
yeah. Well, that's we're heading that way.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was fully remodeled when it became a high school. It's located in a very bad part of town that is known for gangs, drugs, and shootings. Well, of course.
Okay, another rough school.
Helps with the portrayal of ghosts.
Yes.
On many occasions, I've been seeing apparitions in the hallway where nowhere else is there. I can't really describe them. I guess they are more like shadow people rather than actual ghostly figures. They disappear very fast. I see them walking next to me and sometimes hiding in the hallways, or doorways, or classrooms. Sometimes I can see them at the other end of the hallway walking through very fast or in corners. I've seen them both when the kids are in school and after hours, like after school and on the weekends.
Okay, that's not good.
There's a lot of negative energy in this school. My kids actually are very challenging, as are those in other classes. I know kindergartens are challenging, but some of the kids act possessed sometimes. I've taught for years and I've never encountered children this bad. My classroom is a portable just outside the main building. When I'm by myself, I'm always hear pounding or footsteps at my portable, and when I look, no one is there.
Also not good.
I was working this weekend getting things ready for the week and was all by myself in the portable. There was another teacher inside the main building. I went to the main building to tell the teacher that I was going to leave in a few minutes so she could set the security system or leave with me. When I returned to my portable, I noticed that the portable classroom right next to mine had all of its lights on. Assuming that the teacher had arrived, I knocked on the door and said hello, but no one answered. The door was locked. I had not seen in the main building, but thought maybe I just missed her, so I called the extension, but no one answered. When I went back outside to knock on the door again, all the lights were off. I can hear when her door opens, and I did not hear anyone come or go. Since every teacher and employee has to sign in the security system company when they come and go, I called them to make sure that she hadn't checked in. They assured me that I was the only teacher in the portables, and there was no one in the main building. No other employee was at the school, no janitors. I got freaked right out and I left. I saw the teacher in the portable today and asked her if by chance she was in the classroom this week, and she said no. Today is, as I was heading out from the building to my portable, I saw some figures walking across the field between the street and the playground. I found it odd since there was a big fence between the street and the school. When I looked again, the figures were gone, simply vanished. I felt so negative since working at this building. There's definitely very strong negative energy surrounding the school and the area as a whole. I've mentioned the apparitions and the lights to the teachers, and while they have not experienced those, they have experienced being very uneasy being in the building by themselves.
Wow. And see,
that's a lot of dead people.
Well, and the thing with this is you're going to find
cemetery.
people who are less sensitive to things,
Yeah.
but they're still going to feel uneasy. They're still going to feel not right. So they may not be having the full-on experiences the author's having of the story, but they may still feel uncomfortable and not know why, right?
Huh.
So it sounds like a bad school.
Oh my gosh. This next one is to you, Chris, and Ian,
Yeah.
and whoever else is in Calgary.
No, I'm laughing because I read this one and I went, I wonder if that was my school. Because my school was in the downtown area.
Well, there's no water? Joke.
No, we had water. Shut up.
I can ship water over there.
Yeah,
Chris,
maybe-
if you need some water, I'll send you
we
some
can
from
mail
the freezer.
you some. We can mail you some in bottles or something.
Jugs. We'll give you jugs.
Jugs of water because
You
we're
can
so
You
kind.
can share them with Mom. Hi, all. Hi, Lee.
Here we go. I grew up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Yes, I did. I'm sure you all know that by now. When I was in high school, I went to one of the older ones in the downtown area of the city. See, this is why I'm thinking it might have been mine. I didn't really notice anything until my senior year in my first semester. Yes, I did on occasion experience things in past years going to that school, but nothing like this particular incident. Let's start from the beginning. My first year in high school, I often heard stories from the older kids about how the school was haunted. Every time I heard a story, it would give me a jolt, and I'd be scared to venture into the hallways alone. 10th grade, I was asked to go down to the janitor's office, which was located in the basement, to get paper towel for a lab we were doing. So I took the long walk to the basement. When I reached the stairs, I heard a metallic sound from below, like a large wrench or pipe hitting the floor. I figured it was one of the janitors, so I continued down the stairs. I got to the bottom and looked down the hall, but there was no one there. I went back down the hall to the big room where the cleaning supplies were kept. No one there. And then I went to the last room in the basement, which leads to the boiler room. No one there. Of course, at this point, I began to feel uncomfortable, so I ran as fast as I could up the stairs and out the big metal doors and into the main hallway of the school. I figured I would check the main office and see if the secretary could page them for me. I got to the office and noticed that the janitors were both in the staff room. The staff room was to the office and to the right, so it was clearly visible to anyone who visited the office. My second experience happened in my second year in the 11th grade. I was on the football team. Oh, it wasn't my school then. And we just returned from a game at another school. It was me and two other guys, team captains, who stayed behind to clean up the mess on the locker room floor and showers. Well, this particular night, it was just me. The other two were off to see the Stampeders game. So that's the local football team, just in case you're listening and you don't know.
Also known as the Stamps.
The Stamps.
Stamps.
So as I was cleaning up the floor, I heard what sounded like shoes scuffling on the floor behind me about 2 rows.
Scuffle, scuffle.
Thank you for the sound effects.
Scuffle, scuffle.
I looked around the corner and noticed nobody was there, so I continued on with my cleaning. The scuffling sound continued the entire time I was cleaning.
Scuffle, scuffle, scuffle.
Okay.
Sorry.
I didn't
can't
feel
help that.
I didn't feel threatened, so I didn't make a big deal about it.
One more time. Scuffle, scuffle.
Enough of the scuffling. My third experience was in my senior year.
That's exactly my point. He's trying to say stop scuffling.
Well, true. But interesting, he didn't freak out because he said he didn't feel threatened.
No, it's fair.
So he just kind of rolled with it. My third experience was my senior year. This is one of the most memorable of all. It was February, and we just got a huge dump of snow that day. It was unusual because Calgary isn't the type of place to get that much snow.
Oh, give me a break.
It doesn't.
It does. It goes
does
dump.
not.
It just goes dump.
Luckily, it's not like Edmonton. Luckily, our school was the one that decided not to close that day. Oh, that's annoying, which was awesome because there was about 6 feet of snow on the ground and it was minus 35 degrees. Plus, I drove an 86 Mustang, and last I checked, those don't do so good in that kind of weather. I decided to take city transit, and I'm still over an hour late.
That's smart.
I got into the school and went to my class, and everyone looked really pissed off, which was understandable. I decided to leave midway through class to go to the vending machines and chill out in the cafeteria. After sitting for a while, I thought back to a few years ago when I was in the basement. I figured this was a good time to go see what was going on down there since no one was out and about.
You know, may as well. You
May as well.
You may hear some scuffling.
Yeah.
Scuffle, scuffle, scuffle.
Stop it.
What?
I got up and went through the big doors and down the stairs. I crept down the hall and peered into the office to make sure the janitor wasn't there. When I turned around to head to the boiler room, the lights went out. Oh, that's not good. And the emergency lights came on.
Oh, that's even more fun.
An emergency message came over the PA that said, "Attention staff, students, and visitors. Please remain calm. There's been a problem with the power in the building. Please stay where you are until the power is turned back on."
He was probably the one meddling with the power.
I stood still, almost too scared to move because I knew there was a ghost down there, and it didn't help that the power went out. No, I wouldn't be good with it. I finally decided to move. I took a few steps forward, and I heard the office door behind me creak and slowly latch closed. Oh, no. This is when I would wet myself. I stopped again, terrified. In the hallway, there were lockers along both walls. Since there were more students in the school, we had to resort to overflow lockers. And a lot of these vacant lockers were left open. One by one,
Oh, fun.
the locker doors started slamming shut. Oh, no.
I think this is beyond scuffling.
It wasn't in order. There would be a door slamming shut right beside me, the next the completely opposite end of the hall, and so
that's
on
more
and
fun.
so forth. Oh, no, it's not fun. I booked it straight for the stairs, and as I was running up the stairs, I heard the same metallic sound I'd heard a few years ago, followed by a large bang.
Clink.
I don't know where that bang came from, but all I know is it made me run twice as fast. When I got to the top of the stairs and out into the main hallway, I sat at a table to catch my breath and looked down and realized that I'd pissed myself.
Oh, no.
Oh, I would have done the same thing. This was great. It was senior year. I was captain of the football team, and I pissed my pants. I ran to the locker room before anyone saw me and changed into my sweatpants. Then I went to the bus stop, and I went home. I don't know what it was, and I hated how it decided to mess with me while the power was out.
That's the prime time.
Well, the fact that the lockers were closing not in order.
Well, that's way more fun.
Well, no, because it wanted him to know that it was not a person.
It would be more dramatic if those did that and there was scuffling.
Oh, shut up.
It'd be
Why are you
like
wrecking
scuffle,
every
scuffle,
story?
scuffle. Bam.
Stop it.
Scuffle, scuffle.
You know what school I
Bam.
think that was?
No.
One of the ones in the upcoming Calgary book. I bet you any money that was Western Canada.
Oh,
Remember we went to Western?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in the book.
Oh.
So there's a ghost.
That scuffles and bangs on random doors.
Okay.
Oh, it turns out the power. That's actually more fun.
Shut up.
What?
Your turn.
It's so fun. I remember this experience like it was yesterday. About 25 years ago, when I was only 7, my family and I visited my cousin and her family in Sacramento on a Saturday. Ooh, Sacramento. That's fun.
We do like Sacramento.
They lived in an apartment right next to a cemetery with an elementary school right behind the apartment complex. This was definitely located in a rough neighborhood, as they always are.
Yes.
My cousin, who was the same age as me, brought me and my brother to the school's playground. My brother brought a basketball and played at the courts by himself, and I was playing on the structure with my cousin. Randomly, my cousin said she had to run home with no explanation whatsoever.
Okay. Nice.
She just took off. For some reason, I didn't question her or decide to follow her. I just sat on the structure next to the side. Then I heard what sounded like 2 voices, one on each side of my ears, grunting at me. Oof. I felt the presence almost as if the voices came from the 2 people standing on either side. My heart dropped and I wanted to faint. I screamed for my brother who was playing on the courts, and before I could even tell him what was going on, he started sprinting off. I ran after him with my shoes halfway on. Oops.
Uh-oh.
When we ran back to my cousin's house, my brother said he started running because he heard constant banging against the school bungalow and angry grunting voices chasing after him. When we went upstairs to look for my cousin, we entered her room. She was sitting on her bed, legs crossed, staring off into space. We screamed her name, and she just slowly turned her head to look at us. She looked like she was drugged, as if she had just mumbled something to us. We couldn't figure out what she was saying, so we just left the room. My brother and then I told our parents and aunts and uncles what happened to us. They just laughed it off.
Don't they always?
When it was around dinner time, we all gathered at the dinner table, and my cousin came out of her room from upstairs acting normal again, like nothing happened. My brother and I remember everything to this day. We've reminded our cousin of that day numerous times, and she can't remember a thing.
Wow.
We brought it up a couple months ago, and still she didn't recall ever taking us to that school. I don't know if she was so scared that she just tried to shut that part of the memory out. She always seemed slightly annoyed every time we brought it up, or if she truly can't remember. It was definitely one of the scariest moments I've ever experienced.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Grunting.
Yeah.
That's unusual.
That is unusual, and that's really creepy. And the fact that they were
Yeah.
banging on the side of the building there too,
I don't understand what that would be.
that would freak me out. That's something very bad, I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. No, that didn't.
That doesn't seem like your typical presence.
No, I agree. All right. Last story, friends. So
It's the countdown.
brace yourself. One night around 2:30 or 3 a.m. Okay. My friend Beth and I snuck out of the house to go swinging at the elementary school a few blocks away from my house. Okay. First off, if you are in high school and it's 2:30 or 3 a.m., stay home.
Yeah, it's 3
Nothing good happens after midnight.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
While we were swinging, I noticed something in the window of the school. I didn't pay much attention to it because I was too intent into listening to my music and swinging. Then I noticed it move.
Uh-oh.
So I stopped my swing and told my friend Beth to look where I was to see if she saw it too. She didn't at first, but it moved again, so she saw it, and we both got a little freaked out.
Oh, no.
The next day, I told my 2 sisters who went to that school at the time about seeing the shadow in the window. They told me about how their school is haunted by some little girl. They didn't know the full story, but they knew she died in the second-floor bathroom.
Uh-oh.
That was a few weeks ago. Oh, sorry. That was a few years ago.
Yeah.
A week or so ago, I was on MySpace and noticed
MySpace. Whoa, that's
blast from the past.
Facebook, pre-Facebook.
Let's update this story. Are you ready for me to update the story? A week or so ago, I was on Insta and noticed a bulletin someone had posted about their school being on a website and being haunted. So I went to the website and saw it was the elementary school my sisters went to, and where my friend and I saw the shadow was really haunted. They told a story of how a girl got really upset because her teacher screamed at her. So she ran to the bathroom, which was on the second floor, and tried to climb out the vent. She didn't know that the vent was an air conditioner that turned on automatically and got killed in the air vent.
Ooh, what a way to go.
Ugh. So I went to my house to visit, and I told my sisters about the website and told them the story. Around 9:30, we decided to go up to the school to see if we could see her. We got there and started swinging, and I saw her. I pointed her out to my sisters, and they actually started crying. They were so scared. We went back home, and I told my mom, and she didn't believe us. So I took her to the park, and she got to see it for herself. She actually got pretty scared, too. While we were leaving, the little girl ghost waved.
Ooh.
That freaked me out the most. I really wasn't expecting that.
I'm not entirely sure what would freak me out. The little girl waving or MySpace.
Jason!
MySpace. I haven't heard that in like so long.
That's why I upgraded the story to make it Insta.
TikTok, you know?
Oh, yeah. I was watching TikTok or whatever the kids do with TikTok.
Oh, my gosh, right?
All right. So we're going to come back after this and talk a little bit about what's coming up and do our shout outs and all those good things. So
we hope you had fun.
We'll be back right after this. All right, friends, we are back.
I was thinking the final countdown.
Wow, we are flashing back to the past.
That is pre-MySpace.
Yeah, that is pre-MySpace.
That's like IBM territory.
Did you ever get into MySpace?
No, I don't even know what it is.
Really?
I thought it was pre-Facebook, isn't it?
It was. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a pre-Facebook thing. I did not get into it. I do remember using Instant Messenger. There was ICQ. And I didn't really get into that, but MSN Messenger.
Oh my God, MSN and then AOL Instant Messenger.
Well, I didn't use that, but when MSN...
I was on everything. Yahoo Messenger.
I'm sure you were.
Gosh.
When MSN Messenger was out, I was a youth worker in a church.
Yeah.
And I would have to talk to like 10 kids at once. So that's how I learned to type so fast, because I would be clicking through, talking to my youth and going, hey, are you going to come on Friday or whatever? And that's how I got so good at it. That was the one I used the most.
It's so ironic.
I was sad when it left.
I know. So you start out with these instant messengers that really all started with ICQ.
Yeah.
And then they got all obliterated, like Skype and everything else. And they became these, Facebook. And now Facebook has Messenger.
And what do we do? How do we stay in touch with our friends? We text.
Yeah, text.
So basically,
WhatsApp.
We're still doing the exact same thing, but now we're doing it on like handheld devices. So
I was even on Merc.
What's that?
MIRC, that's Internet Relay Chat.
Oh my God, you're such a nerd. That's amazing.
That was way before MySpace.
No kidding.
You saw the Merc thing was nice because you could use dial up, and it was at light speed because it's basically just it's basically just simple text.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be that big a deal.
I don't remember. I think you had to use hashtags and stuff to get
Such
into
a
rooms.
Such
You get
a
into a
nerd.
room and people are chatting away. And
I'm sure they were very disgusting rooms. All right. So we want to thank our lovely patrons, and we would love to invite you to be a patron.
Yes.
Just go to patreon.com and put in ghosts and the letter N and bears, ghosts and bears, and you will find us.
N as in November.
And we do have our merch.
Everyone loves our merch.
Ghost stories we have heard that we put out every other week. So you want to check
Ghost
those
stories
out.
we've heard.
Ghost stories we
I haven't been on these ones, but I will be on the next ones.
After this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already preloaded a few.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah, those are going to be on. And right now, we just want to say thank you to our beautiful, beautiful patrons who we love, like Michelle,
Taylor,
and Dawn,
Robin,
Maria,
Gina,
Sherry,
Marion,
Kathleen,
Alexa,
Mary Frances,
Christopher,
David,
Ashley,
Jeremiah,
BB Nix,
Melinda,
Jordan,
Tammy,
Taya,
Evan,
Arwen,
Steve,
Kyle and Charlotte.
Oh, and big shout out to Kyle. He just had emergency brain surgery, but he's doing really, really
hope
well.
you're well.
So
Yeah.
we're proud of you, Kyle. You guys stick in. And Charlotte, I know your mom just passed, which all happened in like the same 2-week period. I can't imagine what you
we're
guys are
sending our
going
love.
through. Yeah, but we're sending you our love for sure. Catherine.
And Myri.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much
guys
to all
so
y'all.
much for your support, keeping us going, keeping us running, paying the bills. We're really, really grateful.
Yeah, it's true. It helps us pay the bills.
It really does.
This computer was a good buy. It's still running. All
It's
these
still
years
doing
later.
great. No, I'm very happy with this computer. So it's going to be coming out, and don't forget to check out our Redbubble store, Ghosts and Bears.
Redbubble, yeah.
Instagram, Ghosts and Bears. Facebook, Ghosts and Bears. Or if you have a story,
Fortunately, we're not on MySpace.
I would if I could.
Oh gosh, hot or not? was that also a precursor? To
I
Facebook?
think so. If you guys want to reach out to us and send us a story, do the whole Gmail thing. That's the best way to do it. Ghosts and Bears. That's ghosts, the letter N, and bears. Ghosts and Bears at gmail.com.
And Merc. Check us out on Internet Relay
Shut
Chat.
up. It's not. No, don't do that.
That's really going back to the 90s.
Send us your stories. We'd love to hear them, and we'd love to put them in an upcoming episode. So keep that in mind.
And
too.
we hope that the water gets restored sooner than later in Calgary.
Yeah,
'cause
and
that's awful.
But other parts of Canada are apparently boiling right now. It's like there's a heat dome in Montreal and Toronto.
Yeah, my friend Tom just sent me a message because I think he's in Toronto and it's 42 today.
Oh.
42 degrees.
Not real. No,
And I think it's 16 here, which is a lot more bearable.
it's very chilly for this time of year here.
I'm
not complaining, though.
It's fine.
I can put a blanket on the bed, so I'm not complaining.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'd have our AC running like full blast
Pretty
for
much.
ever.
Yeah, but yeah. So thank you, friends.
Yes.
Do send us your stories. Do one thing I haven't asked you to do for quite a while, and I would really appreciate this because it helps us a lot. Please do rate and review us on iTunes. It's where most of our people come from.
Yeah.
iTunes and Spotify. So if you could rate and review us, that would be amazing. That's a super easy, free thing you can do to support us.
iTunes.
And give us 5 stars because we love you. And if you don't want to give us 5 stars, well, email me first and I'll tell you why you should give us 5 stars. So thank you guys. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you. I'm really excited about doing this summer series.
Yeah.
So look forward to those.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for that. And we will
It's like
be
Kool-Aid. Remember that guy who just used to bust through the walls and be like, oh, yeah.
Oh,
and
I
they'd
think
back off.
I think everyone knows who the Kool-Aid Man is. Yes.
It was so fun. It was a simpler time back then.
It was
You didn't have MySpace and Insta TikTok. You just had Merc
and a large
and ICQ.
jug bursting through a wall to pour out his blood for children to drink.
And you went, though back in those days, you couldn't post stuff on the internet. The internet was more of an information thing.
It was all text.
Like it was Netscape Navigator.
Oh my
so
god!
When you watch like a line load and a line load all the way down, you're just like, it was a different time.
I think Jason has gone deeply into a nostalgic well right now.
Probably
Deep. We're going to be talking about. He's going to be googling old car commercials now for the rest of the night. Just so you know.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
I knew that would make
1993
you happy.
Ultima, 1992 SE400.
Okay, calm down. Thank you, everybody.
1987 CRX.
We love you. And if you're looking for a podcast with amazing stories, please keep in mind Ghosts and Bears, because we are the only podcast with
actual stories
actual ghosts
and told from actual bears.
Actual bears. All right, friends. Thanks so much. You guys take care, and we will see you real soon.
Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.